10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds
All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to the broadcast here. We got game number 1 kicking things off here. What is first of 2 best of 3s? That's going to be coming at you here on this stream, at least. This is the PGL Open Bucharest NA Regional Qualifiers here. We got this matchup here. What is the Iceberg versus the Dire? The winner of this will move on to the playoff stage, where they'll take on Complexity in that single elimination playoff stage. Again, 8 teams starting, 4 teams moving on to the playoffs. Eventually, we get the 1 team to decide. That's how it all breaks down. But we're excited to be here again. Game number 1 kicking things off. I say we are excited to be here. I am Breaky CPK, and I'm going to be joined by my co-Kim. How's it going, man?
10 seconds remaining.
The favorites going into this overall qualifier. I mean, they just came off of a win at the Kings Cup. They qualified for the Summit, and you know they're looking really hot. But Iceberg, also a very promising team. They just won versus. Oh no, they did lose versus Immortals, but still a very promising team. You know, lots of good names in there as well with Brax, Clairvoyant. So I think for any NA fan, this is a really exciting match to watch.
Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining.
Minor, and again, no doubt a favorite team. But hey, you mentioned Iceberg here. It's Iceberg's as you said, they have some recognizable players, no doubt, but definitely a team still trying to develop. One of the up and coming teams. Obviously, have a tough challenge here, and that is the Dire. So looking forward to it. Again, the winner moves on to play Complexity, who, by the way, is playing Evil Geniuses right now as we speak, and I believe they're even up 1-0.
They're up 1-0, and they absolutely destroyed EG as well in that game.
Yeah.
So they're looking very hot. So whoever's going to win here is not going to have an easy road. That's for sure.
Yeah. No, it should be fun. We got the draft starting, obviously, so let's go ahead and take a look at what we got. Well, only 1 pick so far. Earthshaker coming out. You know, something, I know that you were watching that game as well, that they were just, the Dire was just playing against a team called Starboys, I believe, for the ESL qualifiers. They were running an off-lane Winter Wyvern in that game. And we've seen that a little bit being picked up here and there. So I'm wondering if something creative like that is going to come out here.
I sure hope so. It's a lot of fun to watch. It's very, very new, and especially in a meta right now. You know, after TI, there's not been a big balance patch just yet. Some people feel that the game has become a little bit stale. You know, people are yearning for that new patch. So seeing something new like the off-lane Winter Wyvern is very exciting. But, you know, so far, rather standard draft from both sides. I mean, if you just look at the bans, very standard for both sides. The Earth Spirit ban is a little bit special. It's not necessarily something you see a lot these days, but it is definitely something that the Dire love to play. So this is a very good ban from Iceberg. But, you know, Prophet, Earthshaker, pretty much 2 of the most contested heroes in the meta right now.
Yeah, Earth Spirit's one of those. You're not going to ban that against every team necessarily, but if you know they have a specialist, you know, of course, the name that comes to mind for most people is Jerax for OG, but there's plenty of others out there that can play it very well, and I think Misery is on that list. In fact, I want to say whether it was Starladder or maybe it was even when I was watching Kings, I don't know, but saw him playing it a couple times throughout the events that have been happening, and he has been playing it very well. So this is another hero here, as Jakiro's picked up by the Dire, that I've noticed has been popping up quite a bit, more so in the NA region than anything with everything that's been going on. But the Dire, they like this hero. 2nd pick.
Yeah.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team ban.
Just right now, because you have both Earthshaker and Jakiro, 2 heroes that traditionally are played as a support, but can technically still be put into that offlane position. So in that sense, they have a lot of flexibility for them, whereas Iceberg pretty much already shoehorning themselves into an offlane Nature's Prophet. I mean, again, there are other teams that also play the Nature's Prophet as a carry, But in most cases, it is that offlane Nature's Prophet. So for them, it is pretty clear cut Nature's Prophet offlane Nyx Assassin, most likely on Clairvoyance as a roamer.
Yeah, I think that's something that teams tend to almost overlook sometimes as far as when they are making the draft. You make a great point there that on the Dire side, you're not really 100% sure where those heroes are going to end up. I mean, yeah, Jakiro, the 5 position is likely. I mean, we have seen mid Jakiro, but again, 5 position, but Earthshaker, one of those diverse heroes. As you point out, though, pretty much a good chance it's going to be a 4 or a 3 position NP and a 4 position Nyx Assassin. Now, I will say, speaking of, again, yeah, complexity, they have ran Nature's Prophet in the safe lane. In fact, they were doing that against EG in the series over there that we were just talking about. So there is potential, definitely, but again, a little more expected. Necrophos is going to be the 3rd pick, though, from Iceberg here.
Just judging from the way that Iceberg has been drafting the past, weeks now, I guess, it's very likely in Brax offlane Nature's Prophet. I doubt that they're going to run it as a position 1. I haven't seen it at least yet, so I just doubt it. But and with the Necrophos pick especially, though, then again, Necrophos can also be a mid laner. You know, there's that flexibility there. But just looking quickly at the bans, I'm actually surprised that the Dire took out Ancient Apparition themselves, and it makes me wonder if they were looking for that Necrophos, because AA, again, one of the most picked hero alongside Jakiro and Earthshaker for the Dire, and it is definitely a hero that fits well into the lineup right now, unless obviously they have other plans for these 2 heroes. But you know, Earthshaker, one of the more mobile supports, you can just jump anybody, and with the support of the AA Blast, it's almost definitely a kill, right? So I'm a bit surprised that they banned out the AA. Makes me wonder if they did want to go for the Necro and then Iceberg just stealing it.
It does seem ambitious to not ban it and be like, we want it ourselves, knowing that they have the 1st pick. But like you said, that could have been the logic. But Iceberg, nah, they're not going to let that happen. I mean, this is one of the most contested heroes, not only initially banned quite a bit, but again, you usually see him. The fact that he's left to that 3rd pick spot is what really is ultimately the craziest thing. But yeah, he is picked up by Iceberg here. Magnus is going to be the response so far for the Dire, so they don't really have that strong empowered target yet. I mean, maybe if it's a mid Earthshaker, I guess that could be pretty powerful, but not your usual here. But yeah, Magnus coming out for the Dire. What do you think?
5 seconds.
I'm here for sure, and this basically does ensure that it is most likely a support Jakiro, because Magnus is... He could technically be a mid laner, but he's better suited as an off laner, just because he doesn't do enough as a mid laner these days. So in that sense, I think you know, it does sort of reveal that they're more likely going to look towards the melee core, because like you said, you really need an empowered target, right? Otherwise the hero falls off quite significantly. He doesn't contribute as much if he doesn't have a teammate that uses empower. So I definitely think we're going to look towards something that can use empower significantly, maybe like a Jakiro, maybe like a Juggernaut. So in that sense, well, we'll see. But, you know, Iceberg immediately responding with the Rubik, so making sure there's a lot of good spells here. Fisher, Ice Path, and obviously RP. This is a dream Rubik game already.
All 3 of those heroes, I mean, even Jakiro, Macropire, you'll gladly take when he casts that, even the Ice Path. So yeah, this is definitely a game where Jakiro does make a lot of sense as that 5 position support. So understandable there from Iceberg. I am kind of thinking about this. I want to say I do believe the Dire has ran mid Earthshaker a couple of times at least, CCNC, playing it there. I want to say some of the King's Cup they did that. So again, that isn't out of the question as far as like an offlane Magnus, a mid Earthshaker, and then they would still need a 4 and then a 1 here. But this is going to be telling, of course, whatever they pick here. Probably what direction they're going to go ultimately.
Yeah, definitely. And again, I think they're probably going to keep their options open. That's why Earthshaker is such a strong hero and such a strong early pick as well, because you can keep your options open up until very late. But like I said, it's very likely that the next pick is going to tell us what direction they're going to take it. There's the Juggernaut, an excellent combo with the Magnus. It's going to accelerate his farm. He doesn't have to invest into farming items, which is huge. And he can still be part of team fights, which is what, you know, Juggernaut is one of those well-rounded heroes. He can push, he can farm, but he can also join team fights early on. And it's just an excellent, well-rounded hero, and he totally fits that lineup. But, you know, the question now is, who's their mid laner? Because they probably need something with a lot of impact. And I'm not sure if Earthshaker can be that hero, especially since there's so much control on the Iceberg side. You know, you have the Rubik, you have the Nyx Assassin with a lot of, you know, both control, but also with a lot of nuke power, and you have the ability to stop the Earthshaker, to gank him quite effectively with Nature's Prophet as well. So I'm not sure the Earthshaker is the answer here, but like I said, I believe CCNC has run it, so this is not out of the question. But we'll see. You know, they might just still keep their options open. It's an Earthshaker.
I mean, I'm with you. I am leaning towards a simply because they went the Juggernaut, if anything, to again not only get that empowered target, but if you run Earthshaker mid at this point, then you're, you know, 2 of your heavy cores are both melee up in the front with an empower. Like, you're running a very melee heavy, and with all the control on the other side as you're getting at it, it seems a little risky. So I believe PPD and the Dire here, they're going to lean more towards a 4 Earthshaker and look for that mid. Something like a Quap comes to mind, you know, a very mobile spell damage even carry of sorts here, or core even, throughout the game.
Yeah.
So.
And Bloodseeker actually would have been an amazing pick, I think. And this, I think, is a really good ban from Iceberg, because Bloodseeker, you know, he's very difficult to bring down in lane, or difficult to harass in lane, because he can regen up a lot. And obviously he does synergize also well with Magnus because of his, I mean, he's a melee hero, right? But then he's an excellent ganker. You know, with Earthshaker, he can just find picks, just the 2 of them. So I think Bloodseeker would have been an excellent pick. You need to be careful with what kind of mid you pick, because, you know, there is an X-Assassin on the other side of the river, basically. So any int hero, like the Quap, like the Puck, OD,
yeah,
they're gonna get destroyed, or at the very least, very much harassed from the X-Assassin. So this is a very difficult pick. And like, if you look at towards Iceberg's bans, they've made sure to ban out heroes that can deal with the harassment from the X-Assassin. Viper, Bloodseeker, all those heroes are difficult to harass.
TA is another one now that comes to mind. You see the Dragonite ban from them, but CCNC, it's a popular one,
right.
But they're going to go the Quap here, yeah. Instead. Yeah, that is a good point, though, with the Nyx Assassin. You know, he obviously is great against the spellcasters in general, but it's one of those that's like, yes, that's the case, but that shouldn't prevent you from picking up said hero necessarily. It's just something to keep in mind as the game plays out here. But yeah, with the Quap pick, this seems like just a very well-balanced lineup. Juggernaut is that kind of core already, as you're getting at. The Empower buff's going to be nice, and they got great initiation. They got solid late game, you know, laning. It just all around seems like a solid lineup here from the Dire. There's no, like, cheese or anything like that.
Yeah, that's pretty... I wouldn't call it standard, because, you know, I'm not going to, like, just, you know, call it standard, because it's just a well-rounded lineup, because like I said, they have everything. They have push, they have gank, they have team fight. So it looks very nice. But I want to say Iceberg has it as well. You know, they have a lot of crowd control. They have, what, 3 stuns pretty much, or I guess 3 disables rather. They have a lot of heal. They have push themselves. They have gank potential as well. So 2 well-rounded lineups. But in a sense, I almost think that the Dire look better, just because I think they counter the Iceberg's lineup a little bit more. There's a lot of ways to catch out the Nature's Prophet. There's a lot of ways to kite the Sven, and they have sufficient burst to deal with the Necrophos if it ever comes to that. Mm-hmm. So I think if I had to give an edge, I would probably give it to the Dire.
Yeah, whenever I see a Sven in the game, the first thing I always kind of look for is what kind of stun control they have, what kind of you know, kite factor do they have? They got pretty good. Now, BKB is obviously a great item to get on Sven eventually, but even when he gets a BKB, he could still be skewered. He could still be fissure blocked even. So it's not even like the end-all item for him necessarily that's going to give him free reign. So they were very confident with that pick, because they snap-picked it pretty much shortly after the Queen of Pain came out, but... yeah, curious to see how it works out here for Iceberg. And actually, I want to make a point here, because I know this definitely confused me initially, too, and just to be clear, Charlie there, that's not the Charlie that people may think it is. The one that's known for, you know, talking shit and, you know, being just a fun guy. This is a different Charlie.
He's Swedish, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's Swedish.
To the Wikipedia there, so.
He's
the Swedish Charlie.
Yeah, him and Jabs used to play together on a team called EE's Disciples. So 2 players with a lot of experience playing with one another. And also, you know, I mean, back then EE's Disciples caused a little bit of an upset in what I think Dream League was it, by, you know, qualifying for the event in the first place and then playing a little bit during the league. So I don't know, a lot of promise on here, but overall, I still think, you know, a Dire very much in favor, because they have all the experience in the world, and they're like 5 of the most skilled players in the world as well.
Oh,
just a quick note, I do have to reconnect because I'm currently on the observer bug.
Yeah, no, actually, I had that with the cursor. Where, do you get like a double cursor, or is it something else?
Oh no, for me right now, I'm currently on somebody else's camera work, so I cannot control the camera on my own.
Okay, that's awkward,
That's a very interesting bug.
Yeah, when we first joined this game, I actually had the double cursor bug, which is so annoying, so I actually restarted my game. as people saw there. But we seem good now, so hopefully get that figured out quickly and back into the game here. But the laning phase coming about us. You got Brax here on Nature's Prophet. Already spawning trees, sending them in. Nature's Prophet is such an annoying hero to play against in the laning phase with those treants. He's going to try to use them right here to steal the bounty rune, but Pycat kind of just sneaks in there, picks it up anyways, and he'll back off. So not really too much aggressive play coming out. Instead, it's 2 bounty runes for either side, but Assassin rotating back.
Definitely going to look forward to those support rotations. This is, I think, what most games these days come down to. You know, what are the roamers going to do? But even what are the 5 positions going to do? We see it from Virtus Pro, and I've seen it some of the NA teams adopt as well. You know, the 5 position just starts roaming and trying to find not necessarily even a kill, but even the courier snatch.
So Nyx Assassin, oh well, the Fissure kind of missed, right? It still blocks him though, and that might be the difference. Yeah. Oh, he tried to get denied right there, but that was funky because Nyx Assassin walked right up to Queen of Pain and mana burn him. It's like, okay, so let it begin, you know, expect the harassment. But then he started going toe-to-toe with CCNC, and CCNC is like, nah, I'm not going to let you box me out here. He throws out the Shadow Strike, as we saw, and then the roaming Earthshaker, even missing the stun damage from the Fissure, still more than enough. So Somnus here needs to be pretty careful as far as overstepping his boundaries, clearly.
Yeah, even though he did give his Necrophos a little bit of a start, as you can see, the wave is still pushing in for CCNC. Sure, he'll have to last hit underneath his tower, but he's still going to get a lot of experience and probably still a lot of last hits. So I'm not even sure that harassment was worth it at all. And you can see how Clairvoyant's already heading out of line, knowing that, all right, this wasn't working out. Maybe, well, we'll try something top.
That's a feels bad man moment because Bryle, I'm sure, is not too happy. His 4 position feeding the other mid for the first blood right away. Top lane, speaking of that, Zai, he does not have Skewer. He went in power at that level 1, a little bit greedy, and that might backfire right here. Maybe, nope, maybe, yes. Oh, Nyx Assassin, talk about feeling bad to feeling good. He ends up getting credit for the kill at the top lane, so at least he makes great use at the top and sets up the ultimate kill. So yeah, going the Empower. Sometimes you'll see that Skewer at level 1 for the reason of, we saw right there, but he just was not level 2.
Yeah, I think he sort of expected the Nyx Assassin to be a little bit more mid. I mean, I think if you're just up against the Sven and the Rubik, I think he can get away with it, and it helps you farm definitely. I mean, he has like 5 last hits, so that's kind of nice. But yeah, like you said, if he had Skewer there, probably survives. But still, I think if you're Zai, you're probably fine with this.
Bottom lane, we got just a roaming illusion in right here to Brax. He's actually gonna act like he is gonna TP out. Again, we know that's just an illusion, but for all we knew, that was the real thing, actually. So he'll TP back to base, get some regen. Pycat will continue to pick up the free farm right here. What do you like to see from an offlane Nature's Prophet? He's level 2 right here. Obviously, he has teleport. Should he be looking to port into places as soon as possible, or should he be sitting in this bottom lane and leeching, getting experience here?
Well, for now, probably trying to survive. But
yeah, that's not going to happen.
Yeah. No, overall, I think just trying to get as much farm as possible. If you can find the opportunity for a gank, sure, use it. That's definitely one of the benefits to this hero, but in this game, I'm not sure they're going to find many opportunities because the 2 heroes that, you know, the 2 cores on the dire side, with the Queen of Pain and the Magnus, they have escape spells, right? They're very mobile, so I'm not sure there's going to be a lot of opportunities for Brax to actually find any kills. And, you know, he started off with boots, is probably going to get phase boots pretty soon, and with that, he's going to have a much better time, you know, staying in lane, actually. It's actually quite interesting how survivable a Nature's Prophet can actually be, and even trade farm.
Well, again, a pretty rough start there with that gank, especially. Speaking of the ganks, Misery continues to be very gank heavy. He's going to come back to the middle lane, sets up the Fissure. Now, Bryle on Necrophos, he's a little bit different than the Nyx Assassin, a little tankier here. Even has the full magic wand. He has a salve here he'll be able to pop as well as soon as that Shadow Strike wears off, which probably going to do shortly here. To heal on up. There we go. So the salve comes out. Nyx Assassin's going to find Earthshaker hanging around still. He throws out another Fissure to hit Bryle. Takes off the last bit of the salve, but now Misery, he probably overstepped his own boundaries right here. A couple auto attacks, a Death Pulse. It's going to connect, and Nyx Assassin runs him down to secure that kill. So, yeah, Misery, just as we're finished complimenting him, fortunately he goes down right there. A little bit of Caster's Curse, I guess.
Yeah. Somebody even in the chat pointed out appropriately, you know, why would CCNC play mid if you have Misery on your team? Misery, obviously one of the more known roam or gankers back in the day, so this is literally one of his signature heroes, and he's showing it. I mean, he showed it thus far at least. Even if he dies right there, I still think he's been playing a very good Earthshaker, and just buying this Queen of Pain a little bit of space as well. I mean, 22 and 8, Queen of Pain definitely recovered from, you know, just initial sort of hiccups.
Well, Necrophos, with that said, he is leading in the CS, of course, 27 and 5 compared to that 23 and 8 Queen of Pain right here. So is that expected, though, then? It sounds like that's what you're getting at. Necrophos should be probably winning this lane.
Yeah, I think it's expected because of the harassment coming out from both the supports. The Earthshaker couldn't really edge out the Necrophos that much, but the Nyx Assassin, just with the mana burn, just makes it very difficult for the Queen of Pain to effectively harass the Necrophos. And Necrophos, obviously, with his insane heal through Ghost Shroud and the sticks, makes it very difficult or almost not worth it to try and go for a trade. So in that sense, I do think it is definitely a Necrophos-sided lineup matchup, but only because of the support interaction.
Pycat with those phase boots, using those to run away right there. Some harassment, Nyx Assassin. Speaking of the harassment, continues to go in. Gonna take the Dragon Breath, though. The Fissure block off, and he's in trouble right here. Liquid Fire on top, and he goes for the TP, though. Smart decision. They had no stopper after that. Obviously, no Ice Path currently on PPD playing the Jakiro, and thus he's able to port out. So why do you think we don't see the Ice Path? I feel like we see this kind of build a lot on Jakiros. That they pass up Ice Path even until like level 9 here, or 10 or so. Is that surprising to you, or does that make sense?
No, I mean, I've talked to a bunch of people that, you know, play Jakiro a lot, but at the end of the day, this is just so consistently better. I mean, there are going to be opportunities where if you had maybe 1 point in Ice Path, you maybe get a kill. But consistently speaking, you're always going to get more out of the Dual Breath harassment and of the Liquid Fire push. The Ice Path getting your kill, it just doesn't happen often enough. And Jakiro, in itself, he's not going to go ganking, right? And if you're not going to go ganking, and even if you did, Dual Breath will just do more damage. You do have a Fissure already, if you do need a stun. So in that sense, I do think this build does make sense. But even 1437, you know, one of the guys that sort of re-established Jakiro earlier this year, even he sometimes goes for the Ice Path if the game demands it. But I think in this game, it just doesn't demand it just yet.
It is great synergy with that Fissure of the Earthshaker, so eventually going to be great. CCNC, though, middle lane. He's in trouble. Reaper, Scythe kill. Great collapse here in the middle lane. That's exactly what you need if you're Iceberg here. He's dead for 35+ seconds, or he's going to be back up. This is going to be some tower pressure as well, but obviously, again, great rotation in, and CCNC, he just simply had no clue.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Braxton TP in for this. Even if he wasn't needed for the kill, this could have been a lot of tower damage already, and instead he actually used his treants in the bottom lane, which I guess it's farm for him, but in fact he might die.
Well, now he's trying to TP and get out of here, and actually will work out. Misery does not have Enchant Totem. He went level 2 Fissure with the level 1 Aftershock, so unable to get the value out of the 1/1/1 there. In hindsight, he probably wishes he had that now, but again, obviously, good port out from Nature's Prophet, and now they'll just harass the tower themselves. But yeah, NP continues to somewhat struggle here at the bottom. I mean, he's 23-9, actually. I guess he's not really struggling that bad.
Yeah, again, once Phase Boots come out, it's going to get a lot easier to get farm, and with those drums later on as well, he's going to have a good time, so I'm not surprised that he's doing well. But again, I think if he had gone... Oh, is that it? Nah, he should live, right? Is there a level 6? No, there's a level 6. Pycat definitely does.
Oh, nice stun timing, though. PPD comes in with a dual breath. Here comes the TP in from the Rubik, and the auto attack from Pycat finishes the job. He chose to throw it on the healing ward, so now he doesn't have mana for an eventual ultimate right here. They're going to take out Earthshaker, but there's the TP out from Jakiro, and now Juggernaut, he's trying to still make his way out. Looks like he will be able to. Going to pick up an Illusion Rune along the way.
Yeah, still a good kill for the Dire, but also a lot of experience for Iceberg, which is pretty nice. Jab's almost level 6, so that's pretty good. You definitely need those level 6s on both supports really badly. It's not as important on the Dire, because Echo Slam and Macropyre don't really do a lot in the early game. I mean, Echo Slam is a nice burst, but when are you ever really going to walk into somebody and use Echo Slam, right?
Yeah.
The level 6s on Rubik and Exorcist are definitely going to be really important, especially when hunting the Queen of Pain. Stealing Blink, jumping after her, and then lifting her can potentially just get a kill, so they definitely need those level 6s as soon as possible.
Magnus is a hero that can definitely have a little bit of build diversity. Usually in the offlane, he probably is going to be more that initiator, and it seems like that's what Zai's going for here. The Arcane Boots leaving the Iron Talon, now the Blink queued up. Makes sense to you, getting that Blink ASAP?
Yeah, for sure. There are other offlaners like Magnus in the sense that they kind of need the Blink, but they still go for farming items. Oh, Sven, is this a dead Charlie?
And is in trouble, isn't he? Mask of Madness picked up on him at least, but that's not going to survive. Sonic Wave comes out to secure that one. Find him in the jungle.
But yeah, just to get back to that point, there are the offlaners, like the Bad Rider, for example, that could still go for drums or even Boots of Travel we've seen at times. But for Magnus, there isn't really any other item that makes sense. You could argue about maybe like a Shadow Blade that could potentially replace the Blink Dagger, but I don't know. Blink Dagger is just always the best idea. After Arcane Boots, Blink Dagger for sure.
Yeah, you know, we went through a phase there, I feel like, last season where we were seeing maybe even like the Echo Saber and someone almost carry Magnus to an extent. I know they nerfed his talent tree, though, to hurt that potential. So it's more about the initiation now, it feels like. Whenever we see this hero. Bottom lane, by the way, Nature's Prophet, he's trying to juke and drive. Also get the turn kill on a Misery. It's not going to happen just yet. The tree's still beating on him. The Enchant Totem comes out. Not going to be enough to stay alive, though, but Pycat will get quick revenge with the Omni Slash there and cuts down Nature's Prophet. So at least it ends up being a 1-for-1. But, I mean, you look at the net worth right now, it's leading for Iceberg in the sense, not only a 1K lead for the team, but both Necrophos and Sven, even after that death. I mean, Sven's been essentially free farming outside of that death he just had right there that took place. So this is looking decent for Iceberg, as he's just tanking damage, man.
It's so deceptive. You think to yourself, oh yeah, sure, he's so low, but no, he's not. And in fact, he might just turn around for a kill here.
Reaper Scythe, there's a kill indeed. Killing spree for Bryle now, and you also saw the insta-heal right before. Like you said, it's so deceptive. He pops Ghost Shroud, the 17-charge Magic Wand comes out. All of a sudden, he's back to full life and nearly full mana. And so that backfires there for the Dire.
It really does. But yeah, both him and Sven have had a lot of free farm here. It's not really possible for Zai to effectively harass the Sven. If anything, it's the other way around. Whereas the Nature's Prophet on the offlane, again, because he's ranged, because he went for this build, he can actually harass Pycat and trade last hits. So in that sense, they're winning this comparison, you know, offlane versus offlane. And then the mid lane obviously did well, and that's their net worth advantage.
Well, Zai's trying to get that Blink, 1850 gold saved up, doing pretty good as far as his progress is concerned. As I say this, it's a Rubik coming up here now. Sven also making his way up here. Again, the Echo Saber queued up at least to follow up the Mask of Madness. So going for the heavy hitter. Also nice utility for the farming as well. Nature's Prophet, you mentioned his build. The drums finish has even used a charge of the drums at this point in the game. And then there's Necrophos, who does get a Hooded Defiance follow-up to the Veil of Discord. So he's going the somewhat beefy build early on. And also the nice damage amp from the Veil here. I will say Veil, it doesn't seem like it's more just for him. Obviously you got a Sven, even a Nature's Prophet, who are dealing a fair amount of physical damage. I mean, I guess Nature's Prophet can be a little bit of magic earlier on, but
yeah, with
still a good item to have.
It's a nice boost, and yeah, like I said, it's just a good item to have in general. The Veil of Discord pretty much checks all the marks that you want on a core. Intelligence heroes, you know, you want more stats, you want armor, because a lot of intelligence cores just don't have enough armor, and yeah, Veil of Discord just checks all the marks, and it's just very convenient. It amps up your damage, not significantly, like you said, but it's sufficient to maybe get a kill or two.
Oh, PPD, we see this from Jakiro, split pushing a lane, and could backfire on him. There's that Wrath of Nature coming out. A Nature's Prophet himself, he TP's in. Quick fissure from Earthshaker, but eventually the Reaper Scythe comes out to secure that kill. And that was an Arcane Rune Reaper Scythe, by the way, so his cooldown going to be a little bit less, now only 60 more seconds before that's back up, ready to go. But yeah, again, you'll see that from Jakiro's, and I know PPD, again, has been playing this hero lately. He does it himself. No different. He'll be pushing a lane, even though it's early on in the game. He's split pushing a lane. He does end up dying here, but something tells me it's not going to stop. He'll probably keep
It's definitely not going to stop. It's one of the upsets to the hero, and one of the reasons you pick the hero, because he can get you those objectives, and it forces the rotation. Yeah, sure, he dies, but if you look at the map, what does it really mean? I mean, yeah, they rotate three heroes to kill a support Jakiro, and in the meantime, all of Dire, or all of Radiant, I guess, is farming the jungle. Zai already has his Blink. Juggernaut has been farming non-stop for the past, I don't know, 5 minutes pretty much. He's getting a stack with Empower as well, so at the end of the day, this is just Jakiro buying a lot of space.
What does Queen of Pain go for? She has 1,700 gold saved up. She actually doesn't have anything shifted up currently, and kind of wonder if that's because he doesn't even really know himself yet. I'm trying to feel out the game here.
Yeah, could be a Veil of Discord as well. It's, again, you know, it's pretty much for the same reasons as for the Necrophos. It's just great stats and overall just boosts her magic damage output. But could even go for a little bit of a greedier build with the Orchid, or just go for a little bit. Oh, they find the Nyx Assassin.
Yeah, they found him, but he actually is in a pretty decent spot right here, especially with support coming in. In fact, PPD again going to be cut down by the Reaper's Scythe. They get the turn kill. Scream of Pain committed for this, but CCNC is going to barely be able to make it out, as the damage wasn't enough. Double damage on Necrophos. I mean, he's not the craziest hard hitter as far as right clicks go, but still, double damage on anyone is going to be a nice damage spike. So almost catches him as well, but it ends up being that 1-for-1. Another Reaper's Scythe kill for Necro.
Good kill for them. Unfortunate for Jakira and for the Queen of Pain a little bit. You know, they had the sentry preemptively there because they knew the Nix's was going to scout them out at some point. And almost felt like CCNC was baiting it because he's trying to hide in the fog a little bit. But unfortunately for them, the support rotation, or the rotation was there from the entire Iceberg team. But yeah, just to come back to the CCNC build, like I said, he probably kept his options open. He is going to go for the Orchid now, which makes a lot of sense. You know, he can solo kill virtually anybody, maybe not the Sven. But with the Orchid, you definitely have a lot of damage output, but it leaves you very squishy. That's something he has to look out for.
Yeah, Radiance coming along for Necrophos here. He's honestly on a good track for it. He's 2,300 gold currently saved up. We're only not even 16 minutes into this game, and the fact that he even has the hood and the veil before that, again, he's not surprisingly up there on the net worth chart now. As I say that, Pycat is doing fantastic on the other side with the Yasha finished.
Couple of ancient stacks, one with Empower. This is just the benefit of running a Magnus and any melee core lineup, really. You get that net worth advantage that you would probably otherwise not get, because Sven should normally outfarm Juggernaut any day, but that Empower just makes it so strong. Like, that makes the Juggernaut so strong. In teamfights, it's going to make him so strong as well, so this is something we're going to have to look out for.
Look at PPD here. He's trying to ultimately escape, but good job by Jabs actually running him down the whole time. Eventually runs up to him, and no Reaper Scythe kill there. Necrophos was out of mana. I do kind of wonder. See, okay, I'm curious what you think on that situation. So you're a Necrophos, you have a support like that. Do you commit the Reaper Scythe knowing that he's dead no matter what, or do you maybe hold off if you have the choice?
I think usually you do just commit, but I think that engagement earlier where he used it onto the Chira and didn't have it for the Queen of Pain anymore, I think that kind of discouraged him just here, because Braille actually did use the Reaper Scythe but stopped at mid-animation to just go for the normal kill. Because, yeah, sure, you can get a kill like that and you can put the, you know, the support off the map for a couple of minutes maybe. But at the end of the day, if they find an opportunity in the next 60 seconds, you're going to bite yourself for using it on a support.
Yeah.
So I think at this stage of the game, maybe just keep it, unless you needed to get like a... If they were sure to get the tier 1 tower, they'd probably use it. Because then they're definitely 5v4 and they get the tower, but since they didn't want to commit to the push, there's no point in using it, really.
Nyx Assassin is just hunting CCNC this whole time. He's finally going to open. A late Impale, but is it enough? It doesn't look like it. They didn't really have any follow... I mean, Rubik was coming in, so... Maybe his Vendetta was just swearing off, right? That's probably what it was, because it seemed kind of funky the way he opened.
It had to be. It had to be, yeah.
He had to be
Otherwise, there's no way to initiate there, because with the Rubik steal of the Blink, and then they almost always get the Queen of Pain in that scenario.
Well, Jabs, he finds a couple of friends right here. Steals the Fissure, though, so there comes a Fissure from Earthshaker. Magnus. Oh, Magnus with the Blink is going to skewer him backwards. Has RP. Obviously not going to commit to this, though. Just allows for the easy kill for Pycat, and if you're the Dire side, yeah, you get the hell on out of there. The Dire meaning Iceberg. I hate this team name, man. I know I'm not alone in that.
No, you're not. You're not. But at the end of the day, this is still just a support dying. The Dire or the Radiant were actually smoked up trying to find a kill with the Magnus Blink RP. So in that sense, I think this is perfectly acceptable for Iceberg. Just losing the support there. Otherwise, they could have lost potentially the Sven who was farming the Ancients close by, or even the Nature's Prophet. So this is a very good trade, and it's gonna be even better if they find this Juggernaut.
Yeah, Blink on Earthshaker to go with the Magnus. Mentioned, so. Oh, yeah, big find on Juggernaut. Meanwhile, is it enough damage for the kill? Sven has the Mask Madness popped. The Impale's gonna barely miss, and Pycat's gonna survive. Here comes the RP. He puts the Impair on Pycat, comes in with the Omni Slash. The turnaround is real for the Dire here. However, oh my god, it's not real enough. Charlie, he finally gets a kill on a Pycat. He will eventually go down in the end. I guess Sven was just a little bit too tanky, man. Had that Warcry buff on him for a bit of that, which no doubt helped. And he does finally finish off Juggernaut. But so that was back and forth. We needed a 2-for-1 at least.
Unfortunately, this should have been just an easy pick for Iceberg, but... Oh, top lane? Is this a dead Brax? Oh, Just very close.
Nope. Got out.
But yeah, very unfortunate because Clairvoyance was just holding on to the stun because he wanted to time it perfectly, but he mistimed it, and then Juggernaut obviously gets a spin-off. They are baited into that awkward chase where they even miss the stun at the end, and then they turn it around. Perfect turnaround, but like you said, Sven at this stage of the game, very tanky. Good that they still got the Juggernaut kill, but they had to trade, and that's not a good trade for them.
Yeah. That was quite the timing, though, from Zai to come in there. Getting a pretty big RP, to say the least. PPD. Oof. Feel like we've seen this before this game. Gets caught at the top lane, and as we went back to, I mean, guess what? He's probably not going to stop, but they are able to catch him again, and Iceberg seems on top of it as far as the roaming about and making them pay for doing such decisions here. Bryle's Radiance, it seems like it was slowed down a little bit, but he's just about has it, and it's still going to be a very early Radiance considering he went the Veil and Hood before, as mentioned. I mean, how impactful is the Radiance going to be this game, you think?
It depends. I think it's just going to be a strong farming tool, and it's going to be very annoying to deal with in the team fights for sure. The mischance is, just very annoying, but since they have empowers, so cleave damage, I mean, cleave damage isn't affected by miss. So if you hit the initial target, everybody else is going to be hit as well, basically, around them, right? So in that sense, I'm not sure how much it's really going to do, especially since, if Pika just uses Omni Slash, how much is he really going to miss? So in that sense, yeah, I still think it's a strong item, and you definitely want to get it on the Necrophos, right? But yeah. I think there are other games where it's going to be much more impactful, but this might just not be that one.
That's an item that definitely took me a while. I mean, I know that doesn't mean much, me being just a simple 3k MMR player, but it took me a while to kind of grow on the idea of a Radiance Necrophos. It felt odd initially, but as time has moved on, I have understood more and more why we see that, and especially, again, if you get at a rate like this, the burn effect's so powerful, it's a huge amp farming tool, if anything, as they find Nyx Assassin here, by the way. Of course, the Sentry Ward helping them do that, it's a nice catch. But yeah, it's almost like I just expect to see it on Necrophos every game now, pending him getting completely locked down, which, let's be honest, that rarely ever happens, because it's Necrophos, so... When's that patch, by the way?
It really is difficult to hold him down for an entire game, let alone... Oh, mid lane.
Engagement, sorta. Sven jumped in. The God Strength is active. Something was stolen. That was just Empower. But I say just lightly. I mean, you give that to Sven now, and all of a sudden it's even harder. But it ends up being one of those awkward fights where no one dies, and they kind of just walk away from each other.
It's very awkward. They even use the God Strength for it. It's just on the dire side, they have little ways to turn team fights around like that, unless they get like blinks on Rubik and Nyx Assassin. Because right now their initiation is pretty much just Ice or Charlie just jumping somebody with a Stormbolt, right? But if he gets initiated upon, where's the turnaround? Like where's the counter RP? Where's the counter Echo Slam? Oh, it's on the Radiant side. Right, they all have these tools to, if they do get initiated upon, they can always turn it around. So this is definitely something that Iceberg need to address soon and need to give their supports some farm. But the way the map is right now, they're not getting any farm. Look at the supports; they're not anywhere close to a blink.
Yeah, that's a ways off right here. Smoke coming out from PPD stack. Aka the Dire here in the middle lane, as they're waiting for somebody to show up and farm this creep wave, but that's not going to happen as we see. The Nyx Assassin was at the top lane almost as if he was trying to set up the gank on PPD, but that never really happened either. So again, in that spot of both teams trying to make a little bit of a play, but it's not really coming to fruition right here. So instead, the Dire, they're going to push the middle lane and try to take that on the Empowers applied, clearing the creep wave pretty quickly. But on the side of Iceberg, they're going to push what is the top and the bottom lane during this. Ultimately going to be to their favor, it feels like. And this Sven, okay, so he does have the BKB coming now, but I mentioned this in the draft, and curious on your follow-up to it. Do you think a BKB was necessary, and how useful is it going to be here?
It definitely was necessary. You don't really want to get stunned and slowed down by all these spells that the Radiant team have. But it's such a bad BKB game as well, because there's still going to be so much that can kite him. Right? There's the RP, and then there's just Fissure. Sure, you don't take damage, you don't get stunned, but it's still going to physically block you.
Yeah.
So the BKB, he definitely needs it, but it's still going to feel very awful to just use it. Oh, Clairvoyance dies again. That's just very good warding from the Dire side, or from the Radiant side. Oh,
it is, but if I'm Nyx Assassin this game, I feel like you would have almost learned your lesson by now, right? Where if you find them, don't stay around. Like, he saw them, I mean, he might have been blind, to be fair. Okay, by the time he saw them, it was too late to react. I mean, that's very possible, but that's happened, I want to say, at least 3 times now, where he's kind of in that area around them, and they just turn him, because they're doing a good job of keeping those sentry wards down.
And he's definitely run into some choke points where you would expect vision. You know, he ran into the Radiant jungle, Radiant Ancient Camp, for example. I mean, if you have a Juggernaut within power, you're always going to ward that area because you want to keep his stack safe, right? So in that sense, I definitely think a few deaths could have been prevented. But at the same time, it is also just, you know, PPD's team just denying them little bit of a certain amount of map control, especially over the Dire jungle. Because, yeah, they have 2 sort of wards in front of it, but at the same time, they don't have any wards inside of it. So their own jungle, it doesn't really feel safe. They didn't even have any vision over that portion.
Kind of running at him. The Ice Path, unfortunately, going to miss right there. Nature's Prophet even using the Shadow Amulet on himself. Eventually towards making that Shadow Blade, of course, and he's going to use that to help him get away. But was a little bit of danger, at least. So, Queen of Pain, though, as we saw there coming to play, does have the Orchid, and of course Lincoln Sphere now queued up as well. So again, kind of goes back to what we were mentioning earlier. Several directions it could have gone: the Veil, the Yules, the Orchid, as she does go. So a little more of an aggressive choice here even. But now bidding into the Lincolns even. And yeah, I mean, Reaper's Scythe, got the Stormhammer. Mana Burn itself is probably going to ideally try to be used to take it off, but then there's Rubik too, but...
For sure. There may be a lot of ways to sort of like trigger it, but at the same time, a lot of those spells are also spells you really just don't want to have cast on you. So in that sense, Lincoln Sphere is an excellent item choice for sure. And it at least forces them to be, you know, to chain their spells correctly and better than they have thus far. And again, without the blinks on either Rubik or Nyx Assassin, it's actually going to be really difficult to do that because their cast range is not that long. So somebody has to get in there and trigger that Lincoln and then still disable her, right? Mm-hmm. And that's going to be very difficult in the long run. So CCNC, as soon as he gets that Lincoln, might be very difficult to deal with. But oh, actually, sorry, I forgot the Orchid on the Nature's Prophet. That's actually a pretty decent.
Oh, that one too, yeah. Obviously, when items eventually as well. Nyx Assassin gets here just a little bit too late. Pycat picks up the Aegis. The Impale misses everything. So Clairvoyance here. One of those came late to the parties, showed up, and everyone was pretty much already gone. They all get out, and the Aegis again on Juggernaut now, who does have the Mantis Star to go with that Diffusal Blade, and he too has that Lincoln's even queued up here for the Dire.
Was actually pretty interesting, because the one area where they didn't have a sentry up was the one where they probably needed it the most, at the Roshan area. So, if anything, this could have literally been Clairvoyant's chance to sort of like turn the game around by just stealing the Aegis, but it's just very difficult to do so, and they just did it really well. They immediately got the Aegis as well, and with that, I'm sure they'll look to push some objectives soon. I think if you're the Radiant side right now, you just don't want to give Iceberg more time to farm, because as even though you have a lot of ways to deal with a Sven, it's still a Sven. If he finds the right initiation, he can just team wipe you, and you just don't want to take that risk.
Yeah, especially with the build he's going for you. He's going to full-blown Daedalus, and you know he could two-shot. Feels like almost anyone in this game with that God Strength activated. Echo Slam commit right here. The Macropyre comes down as well, and eventually going to get the kill onto Nature's Prophet, and they're going to use the RP to secure the kill on Nyx Assassin to top it off, so a lot committed there, but they do get 2 kills. Jabs on Rubik is able to TP out before they eventually find him as well. You'll say Sayonara, but again, the Echo Slam, the RP, Macropyre has a short cooldown, but we got a couple of kills out of it, so I think it's safe to say worth it. Nature's Prophet is a pretty solid target to be killing right now.
Yeah, definitely worth it, but at the same time, if you're Iceberg, I mean, sure, it stings, but you have every lane pushed out, and those 2 kills don't even translate into a tower push. So I think if you're Iceberg, you're not fine with it, but I think you're happy that it could have been much worse. Or you're happy that it wasn't worse, right? So they just need to be careful to not lose anybody now, because their waves are getting pushed in, and if somebody dies, that is definitely a tower.
Yeah. Queen of Pain harassing Sven out of the jungle a little bit, but no way he's getting that kill by himself, of course. Maybe he's trying to get him to reactivate with, or activate even the BKB right there, but he doesn't fall for it. He calls his bluff, and sure enough, CCNC walks the other way. But Sven, again, with that BKB, the Chrysalis now finished. Iceberg is hunting for some kind of kill, and they're wrapping around towards the Radiant jungle. Ooh, they might run into a couple here. Magnus going on the downhill. Nyx Assassin going to spot them. He spotted himself, though, because of the sentry. So they're going to open up on a PPD, but you know what? Magnus is able to get out at least, so That's the good news so far. We're this Radiant side, but it's going to commit even further. Pycat comes in with a spin. He does have the Omni Slash. Going to cut down Nick's Assassin, though, for the time being, and the backline's over here. This is Nature's Prophet TP'd in. Rubik goes down, though, and that is just auto attacks. I thought that was an Omni Slash for a second with how much damage it was doing, but oh my god, he tore through him. Double kill coming out. Sloppy execution there from Iceberg. Once they kind of, you know, eventually opened, it just was all over the place, it felt like.
It was very miscommunicated. Like, as soon as Nick's Assassin got silenced and initiated on, Charlie immediately retreated, the Necrophos immediately retreated, but at the same time, the Nature's Prophet and the Rubik went in, so I feel like Iceberg just wasn't really on one page in deciding what to do, if they wanted to turn on this and still fight it, or if they just wanted to disengage, but I think the call to disengage was the right one. Without the Nick's Assassin, they lose a lot of control. They already got a kill, and it probably wasn't going to get any better because, you know, they already, you know, had the surprise moment. So, I don't know. It was a weird decision, and they might... I'm not going to sure they're paying with a tier 3 for this, but at least, you know, Dire is going to push in.
I mean, everything is still up. As far as the Dire side is concerned, your RP, the Echo Slam, they have the double Lincoln Sphere. Initially applied to Pycat right there. He still has his own ready to be activated as well, but they are going to fall back. PPD off to the side is going to get caught. Kind of an awkward spot away from his team, and he did not expect it to collapse onto him. A Misery, oof, he's thinking about it. If they were running uphill, that would have been a huge collapse, but they decided the better of it, so Iceberg gets the pick, and we'll get a full retreat now out of this Radiant side.
I believe PPD died just placing that one ward, and that one ward is so good. If they're not going to deal with it, this ward could... I'm not going to say win them the game, but, you know, it just gives them so much information because they immediately know if somebody's just outside their base, where they're walking towards, and if they're ever going to push the tier 2 mid, they're going to know every position on Iceberg's side as well. So, you know, in the next, I want to say 2 minutes, as long, or at least, you know, until the Aegis runs out, I wouldn't be surprised if the Dire just went and tried to push mid and force a fight.
Well, I got a couple of items queued up here that they might want to finish first as well. Shadowplay just finished on Magnus, but you got Queen of Pain here on Shiva. She's looking to finish, and Pycat is working towards that that butterfly here that he has queued up. So, and you look at the other side, MKB targets. I mean, they have Nature's Prophet who could definitely transition into that. But Sven, again, he's committing towards the Daedalus, but he may want to rethink that, right? Where maybe perhaps look to go the Bloodthorn instead, especially seeing the butterfly on the other side.
Yeah, it actually even adds an additional way to also deal with the Lincolns, you know, and I think if you're Sven, you definitely need something to break the Lincolns, because if you cannot stun your targets, you're not going to hit them either. The Queen of Pain certainly not, and the Juggernaut, you know, he can kite you around a little bit, he can use Omni Slash, of course, as well, so... I don't know, I definitely think he would need the Bloodthorn, but if they find a good initiation, again, this is a Sven, if they find a good initiation, a good fight, his Daedalus can win them that fight as well, so maybe it is going to work out. But Clairvoyance, in the meantime, is just going to die in mid lane.
Yeah, but once again, I mean, kind of opened right there, but unfortunately got blocked off by a Great Fissure of Misery and pretty much accepted death at that point. It's his 9th death in the game. He's leading that chart, that stat line by quite a bit, and that's not one you want to be leading in. Of course, PPD is second with 6 deaths. RP, this is just Rubik, though. Great Yules coming out to stay alive from Brow right there. The Reaper Scythe also cutting down Magnus, and it will eventually set up the kill. In comes the Echo Slam, the Duke finish off Necrophos. But now Sven, he has that God Strength, the Warcry activated. A tree block on a Jakiro, by the way, in the backlines with a Sprout. But now Nature's Prophet gets locked down by the Enchant Totem, and CCNC does more than enough damage to take him out. Jump back in from 7, going on to the Queen of Pain. That one more auto attack needed, however, he couldn't get it off. The crits were real, but not real enough. He goes down. Nick's Assassin, the sole survivor, and that's because he just simply came up recently. And that's going to be a tier 2 tower hit as well. So a funky fight, really. I mean, it was a great response on the initiation, but it still worked out for the Dire, and now they're pushing into the base here. Yeah,
they're going to force out at least one buyback. Like, unless the Iceberg is just fine losing their racks, but I don't think it should be. I guess they're fine with it.
Okay. Nope, but Nick's Assassin gets the courier.
Alright, looks like they're going to forfeit the racks, which I guess is also fine. You do have a Sven. 2 racks shouldn't be fine. Guys, please don't. Please buy back. Alright, no, it's fine. I mean, yeah, now it's not worth it anymore. You're not going to buy back on 20 seconds on the Necrophos. Like,
that's what I was going to say. Yeah. Now you're at a spot, it's like, do we actually buy back now? We're going to have 8 seconds left. So, it is going to be 2 racks. I mean, you're right. This they could have bought back earlier, and you probably would have think they would have retreated, but nope.
I definitely think they would have. I mean, you know, if you force out a buyback after you like destroy a team fight, yeah. But maybe on Iceberg's side, you know, maybe they're thinking, well, even if we do buy back the Necrophos, can we really divert that push? And in a way, I do think maybe they're right. Maybe this is probably the better trade. Like, just, you know, keep the buyback and just, I don't know, but no, it feels very iffy not buying back in that scenario. It just feels very iffy.
Yeah. Well, the Dire here, more so the Radiant side. They are they're overall happy with how that played out. Of course, like I said, it was kind of a funky initiation. It was a good RP attempt, but again, better reaction from Brile there. If anything, though, it worked out well in their favor still, as they made the plays necessary.
But that's the thing about the lineup of Team Dire, right? They just don't need to rely on that one initiation. They, even if the RP fails, they're still going to have Blink Echo. They're still going to have, even the Ice Path Necropire at this point is a very strong way to take on a fight. Whereas if you look on the Iceberg side, because the Sven already jumped the Magnus to kill him, he didn't have anything else anymore, and the supports certainly weren't. I mean, Nixus was dead, but even the Rubik couldn't really do too much either. So
yeah,
if their initiation doesn't immediately get a kill or two, and even if it does, their follow-up isn't that strong, and Sven, he might just die here.
Speaking of initiation, they find Sven. That was a smoke ink, even a double smoke, actually. They used to make sure everyone was in it. And now Magnus, he's hunting for more. Probably going to catch Rubik right here with a skewer. There we go. Brings him right back in. Eventually, Rubik going to go down. By the way, no buyback on Sven for 70 more seconds. So the Radiant side, they're trying to end the game right here, right now, most likely. They'll have to do it at the bottom lane. They do have Creep Wave coming in, so they can do it.
This might just be GG. Without Sven, they can't really take a fight. I mean, they could try, but they're not going to be successful. And they're definitely going to concede this lane of Rax. Probably, I mean, there's only the range tracks left top, so they're definitely going to face Mega Creeps. The question is, do they feel confident? No, they don't.
Yeah. There's your answer. There's your quick answer right there. No, they do not, and nor should they, because this game definitely over at this point. So they call the GG, throw in the towel. They GG out of game number 1, but of course for good reason. The Dire looking very strong there in game number 1. Again, good team fights all around, and overall, a hell of a game from Pycat too on that Juggernaut. He played it very well, and he died only once, 8-1 and 8. Throughout, I think he definitely had a solid performance for the team.
Yeah, definitely. I think overall, though, the entire team played really well, and even though PPD died a couple of times, obviously, I still think what he accomplished, you know, during or before his death was very much